Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. Josie Bird lets out a sigh as the metal chains are put around her weak, limp arms. An officer tells her, "You have the right to remain silent," and then leads her outside. People from Josie's neighborhood rush outside to hear the juicy talk as she slowly walks to the police car. But no one saw this coming. Josie, a 93-year-old woman, was jailed. How did this happen? Josie Bird had always done what the rules said. She grew up in a time when people just do what they're told without question. Because of this, the 93-year-old woman decided one day to make a bucket list of all the things she had wanted to do for about 90 years. But no one, not even her daughter Pam, thought they would find what was on the list. Pam, Josie's daughter, came over on a Wednesday afternoon for baking and tea. They talked about politics and the weather and laughed so hard they cried. Pam sees a piece of paper on the table when Josie gets up to let her cat out. Bucket list is scratched across the top of the page when she picks it up. Pam is reading along when all of a sudden she reads something that stops her in her tracks. Pam tells her husband, "We have to do it." She put it on her list of things to do, so we should try. While lying in bed together, Pam and her husband talked about the dream list she had found a few days before. Pam picks up the phone while her husband looks at her. She calls 911 slowly. Was she going to do this really? To call the police on her own 93-year-old mother? It's not easy to find a great-grandmother like Josie. She loved and cared for her family all her life. She had 20 grandkids, 28 great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren, so she had a lot of love to give. Josie didn't know it at the time, but one day the idea that she was the perfect grandmother would fall apart. Officer Matthews yells, "It's the police, open up." After a few days, 2 armed police officers showed up at Josie's door. Pam had called the police when her mother hit her. They knocked and then called her name. It took the weak woman a moment to answer, but she did. She finally did it, and she let the police inside. It had been 45 minutes since the police went inside Josie's house, and many of her neighbors were staring out their windows, wondering what the police car was doing outside her house. The front door opens all of a sudden, and Josie walks out with her hands tied and her eyes fixed on the ground. People look at the 93-year-old as the cops lead her to their car. As Josie drives to the station, the rain hits the roof of her car and she stares out the window. People who know Josie, who had lived in her hometown all her life, look twice at the criminal inside the car as they drive through her hometown. When they look back and see Jose, they can't say a word. Once they got to the station and made sure they had all the right paperwork, the police led the handcuffed grandmother to an empty cell and told her to sit down on the bed. Josie lets out a sigh as the police take off her handcuffs. The bars close as she sits down on the beige bed. How did this happen? It turned out that Josie had wanted to get caught for a long time. The good woman, who had never broken the law in her life, wanted to know what it was like to be in trouble with the law. Together with her daughter, she finally did it. As soon as Josie was free, she was beaming. As she left the stop, she had a huge smile on her face. While she waits for her mother, Pam asks, "How was it, Mom?" "It was awesome," Josie answers. Since then, Josie has reached a few more of her goals, but the time she was arrested is still something she'll never forget. That's something that not many 93-year-olds can say, right? What a great story. It shows that you can still reach your goals even when you're older. And no matter what age, you can do anything with the help and kindness of other people. Josie was able to do something she had always wanted to do because of her daughter Pam. No matter what's on your list, make sure you try to cross some things off, even if one of them is to find yourself in jail. That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.